Here we are, folks. Final week of the course. You're finally done. A few more days left to go. Shooting this on a Tuesday, so just a little under a week before the course is complete. Hey, in this wrap-up video, I really want to talk about what we're doing this week and what you need to do to complete the course. Again, it's hard to believe that you're already done. These courses, I know, go very, very fast. I know there's a lot of material that I throw at you. Just remember that the goal of this is to give you some fundamental understanding of finance, because you as a manager, as a director, as a leader in healthcare are going to be making decisions. That's what you do. You get paid to make decisions, and a huge majority of the decisions that you're going to make will be directly financial, and almost all of them will be either indirectly or have a large financial component attached to them. So it is very important for you to understand some of these basic tools. So hopefully you got a good grasp of those basic tools when you go forth and start making decisions for your organization. All right, well, let's take a look about a little bit about what we're doing this week and how we're going to wrap up the course. This week is a one of those double part weeks. We had one a few weeks ago. So now it's time to pay the price again, to squeeze in just a little bit more content. Get your money's worth out of this course before we're over. So we're going to be doing revenue cycle this week. Incredibly important. Can be a little boring, but it really is super important. So you're going to learn about revenue cycle. And then also some ratio analysis. And that is pretty cool stuff too, with ratio analysis. It's a great way to, kind of tie it all together and be able to analyze that information that you have with some predetermined, easy, I'm going to say easy, they're pretty easy, formulas or ratios that you can create to find out whether you're doing good or not. You know, whether your department, your division, your organization, are you meeting benchmarks? Are there some general benchmarks that you have? Are there opportunities for improvement? Or are you doing really, really well? Or maybe you're doing too well. And that could also speak to issues because, maybe unsustainable. So you're going to learn a little bit about ratio analysis. You can't have a finance course without learning a little bit about ratio analysis. So we're going to end with that. We're going to have 2 learning activities this week. Some of you, again, are doing great. I mean, all of you are doing great with the learning activities. There is some still confusion going on there versus questions and problems. They're 2 different things, guys. If you're watching the video, I think the people that aren't watching the video are still messed up, so they're not watching the videos. So I'm probably preaching to the choir. But remember, there's problems and then there's questions. They're 2 different things out of the back of the book. The problems are the harder ones. Those are the mathy ones. The questions are the written ones. Those are the easier ones. Normally, I don't hammer you on a bunch of problems, but some of you are just doing still all problem sets and doing way too much work. And some of you are still not, in our final week, I say make sure you're using calculators or anything out there to help you that I talk about in the videos rather than doing things longhand. Some of you are still doing it longhand. Up to you. I get it. It's all great. But again, rather have you work smarter rather than harder in this course. All right, so we've got 2 of those, and then we have the final exam. All right, so before you go completely crazy, like Chris, you're hammering me. You got we've got 2 learning activities, and we've got the final exam. The final exam is going to be comprised of questions that are, gosh darn, really super similar, if not exactly similar, to the questions you've had on the previous finals. So go back, look at those previous finals, know what you got wrong, what you got right, because sure enough, those are going to be recycled in this midterm, or this final exam, I should say. So all of that will be fair game. Also, we have a couple of new areas in there, Part 7 and Part 8. So you'll have a few questions that will be plopped into this final exam on there. So that you won't have a preview of. But again, you've done really, really well with the final, with the other 2 midterms that we've had. So you know how that kind of works. So you should get a fantastic grade on the final, okay? Most students get like 100%, 95%, 98%, because you've kind of seen the answers already. All right. Just go back and look at the previous other two midterms. So you kind of get a mulligan to do those two midterms over again if you weren't quite happy. And again, the average grade on those was about 90. I think it varied a little bit. I think one was 88% and one was 90. So that's good. That's exactly kind of where we want it to be. Kind of high B, low A zone. That's showing that there's enough challenge in the midterm, but not crushing people. But with the final, you should do great. Okay, guys? So make sure you go back to those other two midterms and study those answers. And again, be prepared. There'll be some questions in there from parts 7 and 8 that you won't be unfamiliar with, but I know you will do great with that. Okay, so that's the work for this week. Just a reminder that I do accept late work. A few of you have some missing assignments sprinkled in here or there. That's, I mean, the option is yours. If you want to turn in that late assignment, please do. As I've said in previous videos, usually where students, almost always where students, I shouldn't say usually, almost always, where students lose a full letter grade, final letter grade in the course is missing assignments. If you got a missing 50-point assignment, that's going to hurt. Okay? Out of 1,000 points, that's going to hurt. You have 2 of those, you're guaranteed you've already lost the letter grade. So I don't think anybody has 2 missing 50-pointers. But, if you have one, and then a few points missing along the way, it can accumulate, and all of a sudden, you're down to B, a B zone, or maybe worse if you've got some other issues. So make sure that if you want to get that assignment in, please get it in by Sunday at midnight so I can grade it and then turn around and get your final grade. Now, there will be a deduction on points to be fair to everybody that turned it in on time, but let's say it's a 50-point assignment and you end up getting 40 points out of that 50, got a couple things wrong. Generally I'm pretty forgiving on that. And then a deduction for late, but you get 40 out of 50 points. That can save your letter grade. So again, make sure you get that in. Now, if you're going through the grade book and you realize, I've got a couple extra credits, this smaller assignment, maybe it's one of our 25-point assignments. It's not really worth it to me. I've already locked in the A. I'm going to get I feel really good about the final. Totally up to you, because you cannot get an A+ in this course. There is no A+. If you've already locked in the A, no reason to do that. Again, up to you. You do the math. If you feel confident enough that you've kind of locked things in at this point. With the extra credit, now some of you have texted me or we've emailed on this. What I do with the extra credit, I mentioned this I think in an earlier video, but what I do with the extra credit is I, all of you email it to me and make sure it's coming through email, not through the Canvas Messenger. Canvas Messenger is not email, just so you know, guys. It actually kind of, you have to, it's technical, but you have to force the integration with regular email with that, so it's not a true email. So make sure you're going out, logging on to your email and sending me, those extra credits. I don't know, I think we had 3 or 4 of them in the course. What I do, though, is I basically drag your email off into a file, and if I'm adding up your grades and you've got an A, I'm not going to go look at your extra credit. If I've got a student who's getting a B or a C, I will automatically look for any extra credit you sent me to see if that brings you up over the top. So again, vast majority of students get an A. Let's say a small handful get a B. So I only have to look for maybe 4 to 6 students, for any extra credit that might push them over the top. But if it's there, trust me, I'm going to look for it. We're going to bring those points over and just add them directly on top to your totals to see if it brings you up over that letter grade. Sometimes it's helped students out. That extra 10 points, 20 points has pushed them comfortably up into the A range. So, but that's how I do the extra credit. Gradebook really doesn't allow for it conveniently, so I just kind of keep it off to the side and dip into it if it's needed. All right, let's see, checking my notes. that is pretty much it, guys. Again, thank you so much for being in this course. I know it's difficult. Course, summer's always difficult because we have that compressed time frame. But I really hope that all of you gained something out of this that you'll be able to take back, into the workplace. You'll be able to speak more knowledgeably about it. When you hear these concepts come up, you kind of know, yeah, I kind of know what that is. And if that happens, then I consider it mission accomplished. All right. Well, everybody have a great week in the final few days that we have left. Remember, the course ends Sunday at midnight. If you have any questions, best way to get a hold of me is through text messages. So you guys are doing a good job with that. And then after this, I hope everybody has a nice time to kind of take a break. I think we have 2 weeks off before the start of fall semester. So enjoy that break to recharge your batteries before you get right back into it. All right, everybody, have a fantastic week. Thanks.